Hey there gang, welcome back to the garage. Here we are with another tool haul from an estate sale that I actually went to several weeks ago. There was a barn slash workshop slash shed that was down in the backyard and managed to dig a few things out of it. So let's go through them and see what kind of gems I found. And up first, we have this vintage Lufkin 50-foot rule. It's called the Challenge model. It was the general purpose model of steel rule, and it has the leather stitching on the outside of the case. A button in the back here opens up the handle. And one of the neat things about this one is the finish on the rule itself. It's got a deep black finish on the rule that they called the Nubian finish, and it allowed the raised steel letters to be easily visible, what they call instantaneous viewing. The other interesting thing on the rule, I don't know if you can see this or not, after every foot mark, 1 foot here, you'll see a little number next to the inch. So you got 1 foot 2 inches, 1 foot 3 inches, all the way up. You hit 2 feet, the 2 foot mark, and you've got 2-2, 2 foot 2 inches, 2 foot 3 inches, all the way up. Pretty good shape. Just definitely has some grime and stuff on it. We're gonna have to clean up. There you go. Over here, always looking out for a good Craftsman hammer. This one is a Sears model, 3825, 16 ounce. I'll get you in there to see that. Nice thin handle on it. Rubber grip is still very soft. And the cool thing about this is you could still see barely underneath the claws. Let me get you in there. Some light blue paint in here. There we go. And also on the face, there's some light blue paint left up in here too. The face of the hammer is in really good shape. The claws are there, so this should be a nice cleanup and put the work on the bench, that's for sure. Next up, one of the Alway saw manufacturers keyhole saw frames, and it still has a lot of the original blue paint left on it. And what's cool is you can still buy replacement blades for this guy. Let's see here. And we go in, click on, turn, lock into place, and you got your keyhole saw. Pretty nice. Now, one thing I'm a fan of is you could never have too many clamps. So, some of the clamps that I did come across, this C clamp here, the only marking I saw on it was this letter M in a square. It's not more drop forging, that's a little different. But it's got the 4-inch gap in it, and the style on this, it's a relatively newer one, but it's a good solid clamp. It's not bent or anything like that, so we'll clean it up. That'll be a user. This guy over here, Cincinnati Tool Company. Nice little wings on the screw here. It's got CT Company, Cincinnati Tool Company on the wing handles here. Also a 4-inch clamp, 4-inch standard clamp number 540. It's got the maker's mark in there and a little bit of the red paint left on it. So don't know whether we'll clean it up and repaint it or strip it down and just leave it plain steel. So let me know what you do. I'm tending to think we'll paint it red again. So we got that clamp. And then these two guys, these bench clamps, they look a lot like a pair of the Starrett clamps that I have, but they're not marked Starrett. The only markings on these guys seem to be, let's see if I can find it here for you, seem to be the letters AA, probably the way they're stamped, probably the owner's name on it. But these steel parallel clamps are awesome. They open up nice and wide, and definitely be able to help hold things down on the workbench and be versatile in that capacity. So good score on a couple of these guys. They'll clean up nice, get all the rust off, oil them up, and put them to use. All right, coming in now is a new one. Here's a what would be your typical oiler can. First thing I noticed is there's no dents on it, which is great. Usually you see some pretty horrible dents on these things. The name, the manufacturer that I saw on it though was KB, K-A-B-I. And in researching that, it is a Danish company. So we have an oiling can from Denmark. Pretty cool. Haven't had one of those before. And these old oiling cans, they're nice because you never know when you clean them up what you're going to get. Is there going to be brass? Is there going to be copper underneath? It's pretty cool to see. This company, KB, was known for making a lot of oil cans for bicycles, things like that. So pretty nice to have that oil can. And moving on to the next one. I don't know. Old garden shears always catch my eye. And it never fails. They're always from Italy and always a different manufacturer. I could never find two from the same manufacturer. These guys are from Italy also, and the manufacturer, let's see if I can get you in there to see it, is a Betacut, B-E-T-A-K-U-T, Betacut. But it does have that cool coil spring in it, and nice stylized grips. So we got another pair of garden shears to clean up. And sticking with the garden shear theme, I came across these little scissors that were sitting on the workbench down in that shop. And I'd never really seen a pair like this before, just little spring steel. But there was a name on it. I'll get you in there to see that. What we got here? There it is. Made in Japan. And Masakuni. Looking these up, and surprise, surprise, they are actually a pair of bonsai scissors. This style was used for trimming leaves. So finally found myself a pair of authentic bonsai trimmers. So we'll clean these up. Really good quality. You could tell that they were made for some nice detail work. So we'll clean them up and we'll give them to my wife, and she can use them for her garden. All right, and as most of you guys are probably the same way, you can never pass up a good vintage Stanley razor blade. The old number 199. Still made in some fashion today, definitely not with as much character as this one is. No blades in the handle, but it does have a lot of character, nice style. I've seen guys, they've cleaned them up, they've painted the inlay here, and maybe we'll do that with this one too. So that's going to be a nice project and another good addition to the toolbox. Now here's one that caught my eye that I hadn't seen before. Yes, it's a hacksaw frame. It is quite heavy. Looks like it accommodates at least up to a foot-long blade. It does have cast aluminum handles on it. And closer look, I cleaned it up, and it is a Miller's Falls number 12. The conundrum on this guy is the number 12 was produced for a whole bunch of years. I only found this one in the 70th anniversary Miller Falls catalog from the 1950s. It does show the number 12 with this style of frame on it, where the frame will adjust and extend over the handle. But it's listed with black composite grips. This one is aluminum, and I cannot find, and I've even posted it in some different groups, when at all that the aluminum handles, cast aluminum handles, were made. Don't know. So if any of you guys have any idea of when Miller's Falls made the cast aluminum handles for the number 12, I would really appreciate it. But we got another one to clean up for Miller's Falls. All right, let's get some things out of the way here. Put this guy, move the coffee. This guy over here. Wooden mallet. Nothing extraordinary about it other than there's no cracks in it, no chips in the wood. The handle is solid, not cracked. It is original to the mallet itself. And I don't know, I'm excited about seeing how this guy's going to clean up once all the grime is taken off, maybe light sanding on it, and definitely put some boiled linseed oil on it and treat it. This guy is going to look fantastic. So nice little mallet to use. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm at estate sales, I'm always looking for a lot of things that people usually pass over, or the unusual things you don't see a whole lot of. And this guy here, this can of penetrating oil, and you see right away by the numbers on it is military. It's from Dry Slide Incorporated, dated November 1982. Yeah, always be cautious when you're bringing home chemicals that are 40, 50 years old. But it does have contract number on it, lot F10, 1 pint, use for loosening frozen metallic parts. So barcode, the barcode from 1982 is appropriate. Barcodes were used, first one was in 1974, so right along the lines for a barcode in 1982, but still got a good amount there. So we'll see, get an opportunity to try this penetrating oil out. All right, let's move along through some of these other things here. You have a habit of bringing home old files and cleaning them up. Always got to keep a lookout for handles to go with them also. And had these three handles I found in a drawer in that workshop. They still got all the ferrules on them. And this guy, this oak one, doesn't look like it was hardly used, but it was based on the handles, probably maybe for a socket chisel maybe. So we got three nice wooden handles that we're going to fit to some of the old files that I got. Now, speaking of old wooden handles, check out this guy. Now, these are the kind of things I love to find because nobody usually takes these. They just leave them in the drawer. This old beat up, painted over putty knife is something that's so much fun to clean. It's got the brass ferrule on it. The blade is still straight on it. There's no beat up gouges taken out of it. The handle's still in great shape. So this is the one where, do you strip it down and clean it up and make it look new? Take it down to the bare metal, get the metal all cleaned up, and leave most of the paint on the handle. It's completely up to you how you want it to look. Do you let it keep some of its history, make it look completely new, or somewhere in between? So let me know what you guys think, what you guys would do with something like this. I have a few ideas. And old wooden tools wouldn't be much without a couple wooden handle screwdrivers. These guys, nice little palm flathead screwdriver. No worse for the wear, really no rust on it. It does have a little gouge up here in the tip of the blade, but a little bit of sanding and filing, we should be able to clean this guy up. Another little one, sort of looks like a Stanley, but the only marks on it looks like an original owner's name, stock, on it. So clean this guy up, do a little bit of, looks like somebody tried to repoint the blade already, and we'll clean it up and see what we get with a nice little wooden handle screwdriver. Now, sticking with the theme of stamping your name on tools, I know we've all come across those vintage tools that are great to find, only to see that, oh my gosh, somebody stamped their name on it. Well, this guy, these really nice lineman's pliers made by E.H.W. Where are we at here? E.H.W. and Company. The owner, JJS. And on this side, the owner, JS. And inside the handle, the owner, JJS. Wanted to make sure everybody knew that these were his or hers. But always looking for a good pair of lineman's pliers that can be tossed on the workbench and subject to a little bit of abuse. The last pair that I had recently broke, so these are going to be the new improved version of my abusing lineman's pliers. Still got to find out who E.H.W. and Company is. The usual sources that I've looked at for vintage toolmaker history hasn't come up with anything yet, but EHW and Company. If anybody's come across that before, let me know. And adding to the pliers that we've got this pair of beefy guys here. Now I'm guessing, based on the style, that these were some sort of fence pliers. It does have 3 different wire cutters, 2 on the sides, 1 in the middle here. They're in great shape, nice and solid. No markings on them other than the one that caught my eye on this side over here. You can get you in there to see that. Berlin. So it's either somebody's last name, Berlin, first name, Berlin, or it's Berlin, Germany. I would think that if they were going to stamp it with Berlin, it would be Berlin, Germany, but it just says Berlin. So if anybody has any idea on that one, let me know. But nice heavy-duty pair of pliers or wire cutters, stamped Berlin. I can get a few more little ones up here now. So we go from the big one all the way to these guys. Craters, USA, models. What is that? 1741, 6-inch. Still got a lot of the original cream color, gray color paint left on them. Mr. Crater was a German immigrant, mid-late 1800s. The company was best known for its pliers, and you can tell these guys are well made. They are solid, heavy, and make a nice addition to the toolbox. These little guys, little hobby pliers, generic brand, but good set of needle nose pliers to have on hand. And then these guys over here, nice little silver finished pair, marked Durex. Is that right? Yep, Durex in there, and Italy. So Durex Italy, little pair of pliers. Nice little set to keep around. And the final pair of pliers are these guys. And these neat little guys, they came in their own leather case, and looking at it, it says Sampo. Okay, Sampo, it's embossed on the leather. Definitely well used, belt loop. And you pull them out, and it has does have sort of a Bernard's, British Bernard's look to it. And they're not Bernards, but they are made in England. They are, let me get in there and see that. Mon Industries, England. On the other side, made in England. Nice little embossing on the handles, spring loaded inside, little wire cutter on the top. A little bit of surface rust, but nothing we can't handle. We'll get these guys apart, cleaned up. We'll do some reconditioning on the leather, and we got ourselves a nice little handy dandy pair of pliers. Yeah, we're starting to run out of room again. Hang on, let me get you cleaned up here. Either that or I got to build a bigger workbench. All right, this little guy. If anybody out there else is familiar with the carborundum knife sharpening stones, this guy's what? Look at this. Look how shallow that's been worn and used. Little pocket honing stone, product by Carborundum, and would be an Indian head trademark symbol on this side over here. The thing is, who was it? Mr. Atchison, who was a Pittsburgh native, and he was looking for a way to produce cubic zirconium, and he was working with one of the hardest substances known to man, silicon carbide, and he found a way to synthesize it and end up with what he called carborundum. So these stones are the real deal as far as being capable of putting a nice edge on your tools. made from a guy right here in Pittsburgh. Little carborundum stone. Now, not everything I find is vintage and old and has a great story. Sometimes it's just practical, like these 4 guys. So we got some ratcheting wrenches here. They're made in Taiwan, nothing special, but they are in good shape. There was a set of 4 of them, and they'll get cleaned up and thrown into my toolbox because I didn't have a set. So these will definitely come in handy. So, all right, coming down to the end now, guys. Let's get these slid over here. We got some punches. Always looking for more punches to have. Several different manufacturers. We got some no names, some no brands in there. We have a Torrington punch, full set. We have a Stanley punch and a Miller's Falls punch. The other one we have is this guy over here. This one, an LS Starrett punch. And you can tell, again, I'll say it with LS Starrett, the quality of their products. You could really feel the weight and the difference in quality of material in LS Starrett products. And one nice thing with that, the LS Starrett punch goes along with the LS Starrett square that I picked up. And this guy, you know, when you pick up squares like this, sometimes the steel will feel it's light. This guy is thick, heavy, well made. Unfortunately, it is missing the scribe out of the end. A lot of the original finish is still there. Some of it's worn off, but the vials, the 2 vials are still intact, or the vial on this side is still intact, and the adjustment screw still moves freely. So nice LS Starrett rule and square. All right, last adjustment here. This guy is just found thrown in the corner, and this is one beefy axe head. It's gone through some definite sharpening in its life. It's not too mushroomed on the one side. Any chance of seeing a maker's mark on there is pretty much gone. You never know, when I clean it up I might find something, or it could be one of those hand forged ones. So this one's going to be fine, nice winter project. We'll clean it up, we'll hang it on some new handle, and this will be a fun user in the backyard for getting the firewood ready. So nice heavy old-time axe head. All right, gang, thanks again for stopping by the garage. Hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough of the estate sale tool haul that I have. I'm sure you'll be seeing some of these tools again on future restoration episodes. But until the next time, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next restoration.